Hello there. It is cold. I'm now wrapped up. It's the first time of the year. I'm sitting downstairs with a blanket over me because I'm reluctant to put the heating on. So, what am I doing for this video today? Well, I'm going to do a bit of a fragrance tier list. So, essentially, what I've done is I've got 10 brands, 10 brands that I've owned at least three fragrances from. So, to be in this sort of competition for today, I wanted to make sure I've had a sort of real good go wearing these fragrances from these brands. All different prices, all different sort of scent profiles. But yeah, I wanted to rank what I think out of those sort of brands I've had where I've had at least three fragrances, what I think's the sort of best one, and yeah, one that I think's. I mean, by the way, I think they're all really good, but yeah, some that maybe aren't so good, and I'll mention some of those limitations as well. So yeah, it's been really tough to put these in a certain order. I'm probably going to change my mind and regret some of the decisions I've made, but yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the sort of order, but before we do that, let's announce the runners and riders. Okay, so I want to give a bit of an honourable mention because there are some brands where I have had three fragrances, or I've certainly smelt three fragrances from the brand. So I've got Gucci, Davidoff, those brands I've definitely had at least three fragrances from. So they will be in another one, like Paco Rabanne as well. They'll be in another competition, another tier list at some point. But I'll mention the ones I've got in the competition today. So we've got Azzaro, Bentley, Acqua di Parma, Calvin Klein, Lush, Tom Ford, Aramis, Hermes, Mugler, and Zara. So yeah, very different. Some are quite more they're more niche type brands. Others are very much designer, very familiar scents that people know really well. So what I'll do, I'll mention sort of the ones that I've worn from these brands before, and yeah, we'll go down from 10 to 1. So we're going to start with 10th position. 10th position, which sounds terrible, but these are all brands. I must reiterate, these are all brands that I love. Will buy fragrances from these brands again and buy the fragrances I've reviewed from these ones again at some point as well. But 10th today is Aramis. So Aramis, what ones have I had from Aramis? Well, I've actually had a few. I think I've had four actually from this one, but certainly smelt more than that. So I've tried just the original Aramis. I've still got that in a 240 ml bottle. Owned that a few times. Aramis Voyager, which absolutely lovely scent. It's a very strange scent though. Haven't had it for a while, but it's quite peppery, I believe, off the top of my head. But definitely a sweetness. Aramis Adventurer, really nice again. It's sort of a more sort of ah, like you're at the beach. It's got seaweed in it. It's a very pleasant scent, very salty. If you can get your nose on that one, definitely do so. Aramis 900, old school fragrance. Very hard to find now though. Very hard to find. Floral, old school floral though. Very, very, yeah, again, has that sort of urine vibe. You'll know what I mean if you've tried those sort of old school scents. And Aramis Havana, which I did not like at all. Smoky, just it was horrible. I just don't like that one. It's just not for me, but I can see why people would. So yeah, that's probably the reason I've put it in 10th position today. Aramis, they're trying to become more modern. We spoke about it the other day. They've brought out a new release in 2025. It's a blue fragrance, but again, that isn't what they are. Aramis, for most people, what they see, and it's called intuition, that one, what they see is this kind of old school fragrance. And I don't think they're ever going to really break away from that mold. Look, the people who wear Aramis, like myself and my dad, and all those people who maybe have worn it when they're younger, still love what Aramis was. And it is just an old school classy, sort of smoky, leathery, heavier fragrances. And I know they're trying to move away from that, but I think it's going to take a bit of time for them to catch up. Certainly try and compete with Dior and Chanel and all those other brands that do those very popular blue fragrances today. I don't think it's ever really going to work. And the ones I liked, so 900, I say I didn't like. It was heavy and did have a bit of urine. I would like to get it again. It's one of those scents that I think it was years ago I had it. I'd like to just try again. Now I've smelt more fragrances. Would I like it more? But obviously it's getting harder and harder to get. So yeah, that's kind of the main reason really. I think it's getting harder to get some of those old school fragrances from them. A lot of these seem to be discontinued. The ones I've just mentioned, obviously other than the original. And yeah, again, the original isn't going to be for a lot of people, certainly not people around my age. So for that reason, yeah, I just don't think it could have got any higher than 10th today, but that doesn't mean it's bad at all. Right, on to 9th. So this is again a difficult one for me because actually one of their fragrances I own at the minute called Red Rodeo is one of my favourites. It's a brilliant fragrance. But I've had to put this in ninth place in my tier list today, and that is Zara. Zara again, they do a lot of clothing. They're more of a clothing brand than anything else. And yeah, They do come up with some amazing fragrances, but, they do also have some generic ones, so that's one common them. You could smell 90% of them and go, "I've smelt that before." They're very much trying to fit in with the mass-pleasing type vibe, whether that's a caramel type fragrance or a more fresh type fragrance. They do one called Vibrant Leather. But yeah, the ones I've had before, Unexplored Noir was very much within that category of, yeah, just caramel, sweet, night out, date night, and obviously Spell Caramel, which I reviewed for my brother the other day. Um, yeah, it's that sweet caramel vibe, as was Womo. But the other ones I've had from Zara, they've been quite fruity ones in general. So Bogos Vibrant Leather Summer, and Red Rodeo, which is a strawberry note. It's a strawberry and pineapple are two fragrance notes that I've worn with Zara fragrances. Get them for an amazing price, £15, something like that, mainly for their fragrances for 100 ml. Sometimes you can get double, like gift sets for £30. Excellent price. Really, really good price. But again, they are quite generic. And even those real ones that I love, and this is where I'm going to mark it down today, they discontinue them. Now, that's probably because, again, they've not done well. The Vibrant Levers, the Bogos Vibrant Levers, and just the general Vibrant Levers have lasted the test of time. So they are obviously doing well and they're keeping those. And that's just my own personal thing. I love Red Rodeo. I hope they don't discontinue it. They might have already done that. And it's so frustrating when they've had an amazing release I would buy time and time again. And you just can't get it anymore. And then you see it on eBay and the price has gone right up. So that's the only reason. Amazing fragrances though from Zara. You can find a gem. As I said, 90% of them are quite generic, mass pleasing, because that's what they want and that's what people are going to buy. But if you get that 10%, if you go to a shop and just try some, you can come out with a real gem there. And yeah, Zara certainly has got me plenty of compliments over the years. Okay, number eight. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's Thierry Mugler, or Mugler as the fragrance is. So yeah, Thierry Mugler has come up with some of the best fragrances in my opinion. And one of my early memories of fragrances was spraying my dad's original Amen. I loved the original Amen. I'm never going to get bored of it. And it's got me compliments from so many people from different ages, different occasions. I've worn it in a sports coaching session before and I've had a compliment from people on it. And that's not what sort of thing you'd wear for sport. But I just love it. It's like a milky chocolate. And it's very mass pleasing in that sense, in my opinion. But I've also had Pure Van, one of the best sort of pipe tobacco type fragrances. Absolutely delicious. Moorish. Pure malt, certainly the same. A lovely boozy scent. And I also had Alien Man, which never got the best reviews, to be honest with you. But I really liked that one. And a lot of people commented on how nice that was. I got that as a sort of Christmas present. So, yeah, smelt a few from Mugler. Um, why have I put it 8th? Why is it not higher? So I've given the compliments. Again, in terms of pure scent, they're great. They are quite synthetic, though. They're not really natural sort of smells to them. Don't mean that in a bad way, though. Again, they're really nice. They're really, really nice friends, but they aren't that sort of natural scent. I'm not a massive fan of the bottles. Some of them come in these rubber flasks, make it really hard to spray. Sometimes you have to just cut the top off them to get more of the spray out the atomizer. But I'm also not a fan of refillable bottles, and they do that as well. And to be honest with you, I'd rather just buy a fragrance again than refill them because they're not actually that much cheaper after you do all that. So that's kind of the main reasons. Again, they've discontinued some of these amazing scents. So I believe they had one called Cryptomin or something along those lines. They had an orange one as well, sort of really nice, zesty orange. That again, got good reviews, all those things, as did Pure Van, Pure Malt. And I think they're just getting harder and harder to find. You get the original Amen, it's not that cheap. Cuba Prestige Classic is a brilliant clone of it for £9, £10. So I never feel the need to buy Mugler a lot of the time. And that's a real, real shame. Obviously, we spoke about one that's got a cannabis note as well called Fly Away. So I might try a few more of their freshies because, again, I kind of associate Mugler with those more sweeter winter type scents. So, yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, Mugler's fallen eighth, but if those fragrances come available again, trust me, that would move up the list. Number seven, Calvin Klein. So, what fragrances have I had from Calvin Klein? Well, Obsession, I've probably bought about 7 times over the years. Just the original Obsession. I've also had Dark Obsession, and I've had CK One Shot. I've still got CK One Shot, as you probably know. So yeah, I've smelt a few others, but again, I wouldn't want to comment too much on them. I didn't really like CKB. I think there's one like Into You. Wasn't a huge fan of those ones. Again, very generic, very safe. And Calvin Klein Frenches on the whole are that. A little bit like we were saying with Zara earlier. A lot of the time they are just quite boring and don't last that long. But the three that I've had, Obsession's obviously an old school fragrance, lasted the test of time. Real complex note breakdown. And the way it's blended with the sort of, sweetness and then the spiciness. You've got vanilla, you've got cinnamon, all those things. It's blended so well. And it's this soapiness as well, too. I think there must be some iris in it. Brilliant fragrance, all-time classic. Came out in the 1980s. Can't see it ever going. But I love Dark Obsession as well. Really good fragrance. Got me a lot of compliments in my reception job. And it fills up a room, that one. So it comes in the same sort of bottle as the original Obsession. Again, I think it's been discontinued. But if you can find that one, just try Dark Obsession. It's got this kind of dark vanilla sort of vibe to it. And yeah, it's very seductive. It is very seductive. So yeah, it's definitely not one that I recognise in any other type of fragrance. I think they've made their own sort of genre there, and it's really good. CK1 shot again. I don't smell many fragrances, particularly in the modern sort of ones that have. Again, it's a sweet, warm, spicy type fragrance, but it's got this Red Bull accord, this sort of caffeinated drink sort of accord, which takes you back to college days, and it's brilliant. It's really nice. So for me, the only thing that marks Calvin Klein down really is just they're a little bit generic. I haven't tried any of their new releases in recent times, and I don't hear too much about any that have come through. I don't hear anyone go, oh, I'm wearing Calvin Klein. But those old school ones that I had, brilliant. You can still get them. Obviously, I'm not sure about Dark Obsession, but CK1 Shot and the Original Obsession are great. So that's why it's become seventh. But yeah, not a massive fan of the bottles of the CK ones. They don't have a lid. Which yeah, can be a little bit of a worry when I'm taking them away with me. But yeah, other than that, I'm being quite picky there. Calvin Klein, good value for money, and some top fragrances. Number six. I haven't owned one of these, well, one from this brand for a little while, but it's Azaro. So Azaro, what fragrances have I had from Azaro? Well, Azaro Pour Homme Intense I actually brought for my brother, and it was one that was opened, so previously used from Latino. They reduced the price. Wow, amazing fragrance, amazing fragrance. Probably the best sort of fragrance around that £25 mark I've ever bought. Wow, booziness. I think it must be rum in it, but it's just it's delicious. It's to me, it's a better version of Bentley for Men Intense. They don't smell the same, but if you can ever get your nose on Azaro Pour Homme Intense, please try it. And the other ones, Wild Mint, amazing fragrance. It's really like fresh menthol type smell. It smells like toothpaste, but I mean that in the nicest possible way. Mass pleasing, real compliment getting fragrance, and quite calming. I found that scent, but a really strong green fragrance. They've also done other ones. I don't know if it's Naughty Leather or something along those lines, but it's called. They do a spicy one as well. So yeah, they've done some amazing ones. But the one I had the most compliments on very early on in my fragrance journey was Want to Buy Night. Obviously, since then, there's been multiple flankers of the Zara Wanted line. And yeah, for me, it was that caramel type scent that people just noticed whether I was out for a run, whether I was at the gym, whether I was wearing it in the office. It just worked for every occasion, even though you may not think it suited to them. It did well. It wasn't as heavy as it sounds. To me, it wasn't just a nighttime fragrance. Cold weather, in the day, it was fine. Casual, but you could dress it up as well. So, again, why have I not maybe put it a little bit higher? I'm finding it harder to find those fragrances. Don't even get wild mint anymore. Um, and Zara Pour Homme Intense exactly the same. I just feel really disappointed that they've stopped those ones. Um, so yeah, I think I've smelt Visit as well. Again, an amazing fragrance. But yeah, just more disappointment again that they've been discontinued a lot of these fragrances because Zara have really come up with some gems over the years, including their fresh ones like Chrome. So brilliant fragrance house. Maybe I just need to go back into it and just try a few more again. And yeah, hopefully they'll bring some of these ones back. Number five feels really low down. Can't believe I'm saying this, but Tom Ford. Tom Ford. So I've had clones of these Tom Fords as well, but I want to talk about the ones I've actually had the genuine fragrances of because I don't think it's fair to give a clone when you haven't smelled the real thing. So the ones I've smelled the real things are Fabulous. My brother had that one. The ones I've actually owned though, Tobacco Vanille, Grey Vetiver, and Lost Cherry. Amazing scents. You expect that though. This is maybe where it's not done. That's why it's kind of middle in my tier list here. I expect Tom Ford fragrances to be great because you're paying big money for them. Tobacco Vanille is an all-time classic. The only thing I would say is I've had a couple of compliments on Tobacco Vanille, and it's always just kind of been along the lines of you smell like vanilla. and obviously there is more to it than that, but maybe someone who hasn't sort of appreciate the fragrance, they're just going, walking by you and passing. Maybe only just pick up that vanilla. Lost Cherry though, brilliant. Love the scent. Again, you can get nice cherry fragrances, and I love the booziness in this, but I don't know if I'd really want to spend the sort of 250, £300 on getting it again. And again, clone fragrances, they're just out there, and I've smelt clone fragrances, Lost Cherry, and they've all been great. Grey Vetiver, brilliant. Soapy, clean, fresh, elegant, classy. I can't explain. To be honest, that is what Tom Ford is. Suit and tie. I think a James Bond with Tom Ford, and these three fragrances could easily be that. But yeah, it's really just for me. I think what puts it middle of the range is more the price. The quality is top notch, and just from my experience, the compliments maybe haven't been as much as I want. I want someone to really come back to me and say, "Wow, that's amazing." But actually, my clones of Tobacco Vanilla, my clones of Fabulous. My clones of Grey Vetiver end up doing just as well as the originals, and that's probably why I've had to move Tom Ford down on my list. This is so harsh, and to be honest with you, not many people have probably put these in their reviews. Lush. The Lush body sprays, I've got loads of them. I've got more Lush body sprays than anything, and I've said this multiple times. If I had to own just one house, it would be Lush because I've tried so many, so I can't go through the list of all of them. But the ones I really love are Dirty, Sticky Dates, Yog Nog, Rose Jam. I'm already going through them all now. I love most of them. They've got this lovely gourmand smell. They smell like you almost want to eat them, and that can be its downfall. I've had people, I will let the good times roll, which like buttery popcorns. Then someone, when I came in the room, said, "Oh, I can smell some baking cookies," and that's fine. But you don't want to smell like someone, you've been baking cookies really. You want to smell like a fragrance to me. Karma's probably the best one for that. Um, and obviously gourmand fragrances are mass pleasing. I think Karma's the one, and Cinders, they smell like real top fragrances, and just like you're actually wearing a proper scent rather than just smelling of like a food item, a lovely mass pleasing food item. But yeah, that's the main reason. The other reason I've not maybe put it just that little bit higher in the top three, why I didn't get the bronze medal, is just because they do special releases, special edition releases. So Lord of Mistral comes out at Halloween time. Yognog, I believe, comes out at Christmas time, and you can't get them all year. And that's just a little bit annoying to me. When they're great fragrances, I just wish they were around all the time because they're always popular. That when they do come back out, they sell straight away. So Lush know what they're doing. But just for me, I would buy them throughout the whole year, and on the whole, I tend to look on eBay. I'm not a massive fan of the bottles either. I think they're a bit gimmicky, but in a way that they've cheapened what could be some top fragrance. If you put these in a bottle, some of the ones like Sticky Dates, you put them in a classy bottle, I think it would just make them stand out a little bit more, because we do buy fragrances sometimes just looking at the bottle, and yeah, I just think Lush just missed a little bit of a trick there, but they are incredible. As I keep saying, don't smell synthetic. To be honest with you, I think they're really clean, natural scents. They pride themselves on not having these really harsh chemicals in their branding, and yeah, as I said, if there's one house I could buy, it'd probably just be Lush. That's how highly I rate them. If I rate Lush that highly, what has got into the top three? How can Lush be beaten by these? Well, quite easily, to be honest with you, because these are all-time classics as well, and it's been so hard to put these in an order. So the bronze medal for today is Bentley. Now, Bentley, I haven't actually owned a huge amount of them, but I've owned these ones multiple times. Bentley for Men Absolute, Bentley for Men Intense, Bentley Infinite Intense, and I've smelt some of the Beyond collection that's come out recently. Silver Lake, Bentley, it's just got loads of fragrances. To be honest, they're brilliant. Momentum Intense. Now, why have I put it third? Well, again, Bentley for Men Intense is an all-time classic. Boozy, vanilla, they're my two sort of favourite notes essentially. This has got an amazing sparkling rum type fragrance. It's a sweet wood with booziness. It is, to me, the best pound for pound fragrance on the market. I really think that it performs well. You can dress it up. It can be your signature scent. It's not heavy that you couldn't wear it to the office either. It's not a summer scent, but everyone knows Bentley for Men Intense, and there's a reason for that. It's an amazing fragrance. It smells a lot more expensive than it actually is, and I say that for the others as well. Bentley for Men Absolute. Got this Coca-Cola sort of smell to it. I'm glad some of you do think it smells a bit like that myself. People say wood pencil shavings. I don't really get that. Again, classy. It's like you're driving a Bentley. They do that. They're a little bit more grown up. And maybe that's probably why I've not put it quite as high here. Like, I'd like to have a. I mean, Infinite Intense you could wear a bit more in the summer. And look, they do some sort of blue fragrances for Momentum Intense, but I haven't worn them. I've never bought those ones. And just for me, I just think that they're a little bit more grown up at times. And I'm saying this again, this is my tier list, I know, but I would say for everyone, would I recommend them as a starter brand? Probably not. And they don't offer maybe as much versatility as some of the other brands. But look, I need to try more of them. Simple as that. I need to just try a few more of them to really give that a fair reflection. So that's kind of on me why I've put it third. The two that I've put above it, just got a little bit more experience with, and they're all good. This could have been first, and I would have been happy with putting it there. But yeah, I will try some more Bentleys. If there's any that you recommend for me to try, I definitely will do so. Number two, the reason it's second and it's probably ahead of Bentley is because I've actually just had more compliments on it, and I've had people message me, and it's Hermes. So the fragrances I've had from Hermes, Dead Hermes. Honestly, I've worn that so many times. I've had the best compliments in the world on that, whether it's been at the gym, whether it's been at just at work, whether it's been a staff party, just around the house, whatever. It has worked in so many situations. I've had Facebook messages, as I said, people saying, "What is that fragrance?" And they've gone to the shop, they've gone to Boots the next day to say, "I really want it." Oh, it costs so much money though. Obviously, because they need to look online, it's a little bit cheaper on there. But yeah, obviously, I've owned Ogivre, which is a flanker of the original ZMS, Rhubarb Eclat, I smell 824. And yeah, I just think all those fragrances, they've got this nice naturalistic type vibe to them. They smell amazing. They smell real high quality. I love the versatility of all of them as well. Um, I don't really know what else I can say. I love the fact they do them in big bottles. They just offer so much. And I can't, I don't know what else I can say. To me, if you can just buy a brand again that wants, that will just do all the jobs, this is probably the brand that will do it for me. Unisex on the whole. So the original Ted Hermes got a bit of a smoky vibe to it, but you could put it off if you really wanted to. Ogivre, I think, is delicious. It's got a bit of a greenhouse smell, but to me, being an outdoorsy person, it connects me a little bit with nature as well. And I find that they're pretty available to buy. None of the ones I like seem to be discontinued, and yeah, it's just nature. Again, not synthetic, top quality, but actually for a fair price. I mean, you can get a 180, 200 ml, whatever sort of size bottle for around like 75, £80. I think when you're going for that pound for pound per mil, it's absolutely great value for money. So yeah, Hermes, I just love it. Just cannot get enough. And obviously, a lot of people think it suits my personality because I always get compliments when I wear that one. And yeah, as I said, if you're getting Facebook messages for it, people must remember it well. Number one. What is number one? Well, I'm going to say this now. I don't actually love all the fragrances from this brand. I really don't. I really, really don't. I did a review on a couple of them the other day. Leather and Oud. Amber, I'm not a massive fan of either. Mirror, I'm not a massive fan of with it either. And yeah, there's just some that I think are a little bit underwhelming in terms of performance. However, for me, this brand has really got my interest in fragrances. My brother bought these originally. It's his first kind of expensive niche type fragrances that he bought. Um, and you just know the quality. When you smell them, they do not smell synthetic. They smell classy quality. And to be honest with you, I've worn these ones in the most situations. So if I had a Mount Rushmore of fragrances, I think two of these would be actually in it. So Aqua de Parma. Let's just say it now. Aqua de Parma. I love their Cologne line. I always say this, citrus fragrances are really hard to perfect because they're quite safe, can be quite boring. They don't lack a bit of complexity and they lack a bit of performance. And that's what they do. They do lack a bit of performance, these Aqua de Parma scents, the eau de Cologne. But wow, do they smell good. I think they are the best citrus fragrances on the market, whether that's the Blue Mediterranean line or the Cologne line. Out Palmer Essenza, if you've never tried it, please try. If you love Neroli, this is the best Neroli fragrance out there, period. The original Cologne, absolutely amazing. Cologne Club, more of a green type fragrance. Absolutely brilliant. Smells so good. My brother had compliments whenever he's been. People stopping in the road asking him what was that smell. Cologne Club. So they just do some really, really brilliant fragrances. Cologne Pura, that's 4, just like that. Abano, that was an all-time. I think they've discontinued it, which is such a shame because that would easily be in my Mount Rushmore. To me, that's as good as Tobacco Vanille, as good as all those type of fragrances, that ebony wood in it, top quality. Wow, just I want it again. If I can get it again, I'll definitely get it again. Sandalo, delicious, best sandalwood fragrance out there. A little bit more serious, a little bit more grown up, but you just smell the class. You just smell really classy. You dress that one up. Super strong. Super, super strong. The quality of the oils, I said, it's so apparent. Vaniglia, delicious. Just absolutely delicious. And I also like Cologne Futura, the Blue Mediterraneo line, which I've tried. I've got Rancy di Capri, Fico di Amalfi, Cedric di Talmina, I think there was one I had, which is like this rindy fruit, just really strong, zesty citrus. Just there's so many. There's so many from them. As I say, I could name them all because my brother's owned a lot of them, and I've tried to own a lot of them. And I think they're relatively good value for money. You can get 180 ml of Cologne Essenza for about £110, which look, it's a lot, but when you're paying, when you're into fragrances, you'll just recognise the difference. They played such a big part in my sort of fragrance journey, whether that's scent memories from training sort of journeys I've been on with work, all these other experiences. I just cannot speak highly enough of Acqua di Parma. If I want class, that tends to be the fragrances I reach for job interviews, for networking events, for all these occasions that you want. I just can't get enough of them. But that's tough. I mean, as I said, there's a really, really tough list to give. And yeah, what I'll quickly do is I'll just go through the order again. So 10th place, I went for Aramis. Again, amazing fragrance house, but yeah, just old school fragrances. And I just think they've struggled to kind of win over people who maybe are going to try their blue fragrances. They almost just need to appeal to the fragrance people that they've always appealed to for me. Zara number 9, great fragrances again, very much mass pleasing, but they discontinue a lot of them, particularly my favourite ones. And yeah, when you get those 10% sort of fragrances that are a little bit different from the rest and really good, I just wish they kept them a bit more. But that's just me. 8 Mugler, exactly the same, discontinued some absolute gems of fragrances. Need to try more of their citrus ones, and the bottles are a little bit annoying though on those rubber sort of Amen flasks. So that's the only reason they didn't get much higher. Calvin Klein 7, again, 90% of them are quite generic. The 3 I've tried, as I mentioned before, though, top quality scents. A little bit of an issue with the bottles with some of them, with the CK1 shot because they don't have a lid. But yeah, absolutely fine. Great fragrances. Number 6 is Aro. Again, discontinuing some real gems for me. So if they can bring back Azaro Porum Intense, please do, because it is amazing. Number 5, Tom Ford. Just the price as much as anything. You can get clones that are now, in my opinion, just as good. They really are. But yeah, just haven't maybe had the best compliments on them, especially if I was paying that sort of price. I'd maybe just want a little bit more from them. But again, I'm being hypercritical here. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. I just had to put them in an order. Lush 4. I've tried so many. Just again, sometimes I don't want to smell too foodie. You can be a little bit foodie with these, but wow, sticky dates, yog nog. When you're paying the price, Karma, £30 for these, wow, amazing, absolutely amazing. Just wish they would present a little bit better. I think they can do a bit more and keep those sort of limited edition phrases around a little bit longer. Being a little bit greedy here. Number 3, Bentley. Again, all-time fragrances. Let's be honest, the fragrance community knows Bentley for Men Intense. I just wish they did some maybe slightly more youthful ones, maybe, but again, I'm trying to nitpick here. I'd like to say if they've got more of a bit more of a gym type fragrance, maybe. But again, they're car brands. They're going to sort of base it around those sort of vibes. And I'm just being hypercritical there. Hermes too, vegetal, clean, safe scents. I've had so many compliments on Hermes. Again, I just had to pick between 2, and I just think number 1, Acqua di Parma. It just smells like a niche brand. I just think you notice that little bit more quality with them, and I think what it is for me is I could get to the end of an Acqua di Parma bottle and just buy it straight away again. Sometimes, even with some of those top fragrances, sometimes I get to the end of 100ml bottles and think, I'll leave it for a little while. I'll get it again, definitely, but I'll probably get it again in 6 months. Actor Palmer, I could buy and buy again, and that makes it number one for me. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I've waffled on. It's 11 o'clock now, and yeah, it's probably time for my bed. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. As I said, a bit of a sort of waffling video today, but there will be some more fitness-based ones coming up over the next few days as the weather looks a bit better. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.